Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer, Logan Landers, and today I'm going to be doing an NFL Week 9 game preview between the Atlanta Falcons and the Minnesota Vikings. Once again, it's going to be a good matchup here this Sunday. It's going to be interesting, though. A lot of fun talking points I'll get into in just a moment. But be sure if you enjoy this episode here this evening, give us a like, a comment, share, and of course, subscribe on all of our social media platforms, that being Facebook and on YouTube. And if you enjoy podcasts, well, you are in luck. We do have a podcast platform thanks to the Believe Podcast Network. We have any major podcast streaming platform each and every single week. So let's go ahead and get this one out of the way, talking about the NFL preview. Once again, Falcons and Vikings. Interesting. Home game for the Falcons, but there is a new man under center. It was announced earlier this week that Taylor Heinicke will be the starter in this game in place of Desmond Ridder. Ridder has there's no other word for it, but he's struggled this season. Turnover after turnover after turnover, and not a whole lot of offensive production in terms of just keeping it together and how he can do it game in and game out. We just haven't seen it from the young man yet. Now, we saw the Falcons lost last week to the Tennessee Titans. They brought in Heinicke after Ridder suffered an injury. And Heinicke, he almost led them to a comeback. He did well. 12 passes completed on 21 attempts, 175 yards. He's only got, like I said, threw for one touchdown. Only got sacked once as well, didn't throw an INT. So we'll see what happens in this one, obviously. He does have some experience as a starter out in Washington. Back when he was with the Commanders. So we'll see what the young man can do. But overall, I don't know how they're going to game plan for this. Is it going to be a heavy dose of Taylor Heinicke, or can you get the running game going this week with Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier? Robinson, 466 yards for the young rookie, 5.1 average. For Algier, he's got 332 and a 3.2 average. Only got three touchdowns between that young running back duo. Now, your receiving game, Drake London, he's been able to step it up here in the last few weeks. He's got 438 yards leading your team. Kyle Pitts behind him with 333, and Jonnu Smith with 322. Once again, this team only got 7 passing touchdowns on the season. Going over to the defense, which has not been as lights out here lately. Caden Ellis still leading your team. He's got 53 tackles on the season, and behind him is Jesse Bates, the third, your safety, who you got this offseason. Bud Dupree leading your squad in terms of sacks. He's got 3, and David Onyemata with 2.5 behind him. As a team, the Falcons, they've got 15 sacks on the season. Now, in the secondary, and also I forgot to mention, Grady Jarrett, he's out for the season, so a big factor on your defensive line is not going to be there. Going to the secondary, though, A.J. Terrell, we all know what he's been up to, doing great work as always. Helping out the Atlanta Falcons secondary, he's got 6 passes defended, leading your team this year, with D. Alford behind him with 5. Now, interceptions, you don't have a whole lot. You've only gotten 4 on the season, and Jesse Bates is responsible for 3 of those. Richard Grant got the only other 1. So the Falcons sitting at 4-4, right at 500, but tied for first place in the NFC South. It's been a roller coaster season, and I think it's just going to continue that way unless something can happen. The Minnesota Vikings are an interesting team, and I say that because I figured they would be in a better spot, coming into Week 9 than where they're at. Currently at 500, also a 4-4 record, second in the NFC North behind, kind of the Cinderella team this year with the Detroit Lions and how well they've done. But Minnesota I don't know what they're going to do because Kirk Cousins, we know he ruptured his Achilles. He is going to be out for the rest of the season. So in steps a young man by the name of Jaren Hall, who, he does have a few stats, but it's not a whole lot. But I'll read them off to you anyways. He's got 23 yards through the air, no touchdowns, no INTs. Has been sacked 1 time, though. He's unproven. He's unproven. We don't know what to expect. But I say that the Falcons just came off a loss to the Tennessee Titans. They didn't know much about Will Levis. And look what Will Levis did. He put up Madden numbers against them. He did a great job. So will there be a repeat with Jaren Hall? It remains to be seen. We haven't seen the young man in the NFL much. So we'll see what he can do for Minnesota this weekend. Running back room, you really only got one guy to look at there, and that's Alexander Madison. 390 on the year for him, a 3.7 average, no touchdown. So Minnesota's only got one rushing touchdown the whole season. And I mean, so they were relying very, very, very heavy on Kirk Cousins, who threw for 18 touchdowns and over 2,000 yards for his season, was unfortunately cut short. Now you still have obviously some great players on the outside edge. We know Justin Jefferson won't be there. Unfortunately, he's been hurt for a little bit. He'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks due to, I believe, a hamstring injury. But you do have a young rookie from USC who's looked really good in Jordan Addison. He's got 482 yards for him this season, 36 catches. But he does have 7 touchdowns, so we'll see. Obviously, he's going to be the main target there in Minnesota this weekend and see how many balls he can get and how many touchdowns he could potentially score. Behind him is TJ Hawkinson, very solid tight end, 478 in terms of yardage, and he's got 3 touchdowns, thus the big man. When you go over to their defense, Cameron Bynum, he's leading your team in tackles with 76 on the year, just absolutely getting to the quarterback, getting to just other players on offense, running back, wide receivers, you name them, he can get there. Behind him, Jordan Hicks, your linebacker, he's got 69 on the season. But Danielle Hunter, he's got 10 sacks this season. He's looked absolutely tremendous. DJ Wanham, he's got 4 behind him. And Harrison Smith, your safety, he has 3. All in all, Minnesota, they're able to get to the quarterback. They've gotten 23 sacks on the year. Your secondary led by Byron Murphy Jr., 7 passes defended. Cameron Bynum, who I mentioned earlier, he's got 6 passes defended. All in all, Minnesota, 36 passes defended, and they've got 6 INTs. The bulk of those coming, 2 of them from Cameron Bynum. Theo Jackson also been able to get 1, along with Byron Murphy, Josh Metellus, and Jordan Hicks. So, and this is a tough matchup to call. It really is. For me, I'm going to have to go with the Falcons because they're going to have to rely on the more experience they have with Taylor Heineke. And I think we're going to see a heavier dose of the running game to rely on that. And as for Minnesota, I mean, they don't have a strong running game. And Jaron Hall, I don't know what to expect out of him. I really don't. I think you can throw the ball at Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson a lot. But, I mean, other than that, I don't know what Minnesota's going to bring in terms of offense. So, I got this one being a low scoring ball game. But I'll go with the Falcons getting a close win in this one. Give me the Atlanta Falcons 17 and give me the Minnesota Vikings 10. I just think this is going to be kind of a slugfest, really just which team's going to break first. And I think it might be a struggle on offense, but I hope these teams prove me wrong and we see some fireworks this Sunday in Atlanta. Once again, I've been your host and producer this evening, Logan Landers. Enjoy some football this weekend, everyone.